The first transmission arrived on a Tuesday morning at ODA 347 hours Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Sarah Chen was pulling another all-nighter at the Arecibo Observatory's successor facility in Chile when the radio telescopes picked up something that made her coffee grow cold in her hands. It wasn't the usual cosmic background radiation or pulsar signals they typically monitored. This was different, organized, deliberate, and it was repeating every 12 minutes with mathematical precision. "Hey, Marcus, you need to see this," Sarah called to her colleague, her voice barely containing her excitement. Dr. Marcus Webb rolled his chair over to her workstation, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. The signal displayed on the screen in cascading waves of data, but when run through their translation algorithms, something extraordinary emerged. Not just random noise from the cosmos, but actual language, structured communication from somewhere far beyond Earth's solar system. "My God," Marcus whispered as the computer finished processing the first complete message. "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" Sarah nodded, her hands trembling slightly as she read the translated text aloud. "To any listening civilizations, this is the Kethani Coalition. We are under attack. Our worlds are dying. We have monitored your transmissions and know you possess advanced technology. Please, we beg for your assistance. Time is running out." The message continued with coordinates, star charts, and detailed descriptions of their attackers, a species they called the Devourers, mechanical beings that consumed entire planets for resources, leaving nothing but dead rocks floating in space. Within hours, the discovery reached the highest levels of government. The United Nations convened an emergency session. Military leaders, scientists, and world politicians gathered in secure facilities around the globe. The message had been independently verified by observatories on 6 continents. This was real. The Kethani, as they called themselves, were a peaceful federation of 12 different species spread across 17 star systems, approximately 847 light-years from Earth. They had been monitoring human radio transmissions for decades, learning about Earth's rapid technological advancement, its space programs, its weapons development. More transmissions followed over the coming days, desperate pleas for help, technical specifications of the Devourers' capabilities, offers of advanced technology in exchange for military assistance. The Kethani painted a picture of an enemy so ruthless and efficient that they had already consumed 43 civilizations across the galaxy. "They're asking us to save them," President Collins said during a closed-door meeting with his top advisors. "An entire coalition of alien species is begging Earth for help." General Morrison, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, leaned forward across the conference table. "With all due respect, Mr. President, we're talking about interstellar warfare. We don't even have a sustainable Mars colony yet. How exactly are we supposed to fight spacefaring robots 847 light-years away?" The room fell silent as the weight of the situation settled on everyone present. Dr. Elizabeth Hayes, the president's science advisor, pulled up holographic displays showing humanity's current technological capabilities compared to what the Kethani had described about both their own technology and that of the Devourers. "The gap is significant," Dr. Hayes admitted, "but not insurmountable. The Kethani have offered to share their faster-than-light communication technology, their energy weapons, even their starship designs. With their help, we could potentially develop the capability to assist them." Secretary of Defense Williams shook his head. "It's not just about capability, it's about risk. What if we make ourselves a target? What if helping them brings these Devourers to our doorstep? Earth has 8 billion people who didn't sign up for an intergalactic war." The debate continued for days. Scientists argued that the technological exchange could advance human civilization by centuries. Military leaders worried about revealing Earth's location to hostile forces. Economists calculated the cost of rapidly developing interstellar military capabilities. Philosophers questioned whether humanity had a moral obligation to help or a responsibility to protect itself first. Meanwhile, the transmissions from the Cathani grew more desperate. Their messages painted an increasingly grim picture. The Devourers had broken through their outer defensive lines. 3 more planets had fallen. Billions of beings were dead or displaced. The Coalition's most advanced world, Keth Prime, was now under direct assault. "We estimate 47 days until total collapse," came one transmission. "Please, if there is any mercy in your species, any sense of justice, help us. We have children here, families, dreams and hopes just like yours. Don't let us become another silent void in space." Public opinion was divided when news of the alien contact inevitably leaked to the media. Protests erupted in major cities worldwide. Some demanded immediate action to help the aliens, viewing it as humanity's chance to prove itself worthy of joining a galactic community. Others insisted that Earth's resources should be spent on terrestrial problems like climate change, poverty, and disease. Religious groups split along similar lines. Some saw it as a divine test of human compassion. Others proclaimed it a demonic deception designed to lead humanity astray. Conspiracy theorists claimed it was all an elaborate hoax by world governments to justify massive military spending. The scientific community was nearly unanimous in their fascination. The opportunity to study alien technology and make contact with not 1, but 12 different species was the chance of several lifetimes. Research institutions around the world volunteered their resources and expertise. But as the days passed and the debates continued, no decision was made. Committee meetings led to subcommittee meetings. Environmental impact studies were commissioned for technologies that didn't yet exist. Legal scholars argued about the jurisdiction of interstellar conflicts under international law. The Cathani continued to transmit, their messages becoming shorter and more desperate. "Keth Prime is under bombardment. Evacuation in progress. Please, we are running out of time." Dr. Sarah Chen, who had first received their plea, found herself working around the clock, trying to decode increasingly complex technical specifications the aliens were transmitting, detailed blueprints for weapons, shields, and faster-than-light engines. Everything humanity would need to mount a rescue mission. "They're giving us everything," she told the Emergency Scientific Committee. "All their technology, their knowledge, their secrets. They're trusting us completely with information that could make us the most powerful species in the galaxy. All they want in return is for someone to come help them." Yet still the politicians debated. Still the committees met. Still the world remained paralyzed by indecision, fear, and bureaucratic procedure. The last transmission from Keth Prime was brief. "Defensive grid has failed. Primary evacuation complete. Secondary sites compromised. If anyone receives this message, remember us. Remember that we tried to be good, that we helped each other, that we loved." Then silence. Dr. Chen stared at her equipment for 3 days straight, hoping for another signal, any sign that someone in the Cathani coalition had survived. Her radio telescope swept the cosmos, searching for any trace of the civilization that had begged Earth for help. On the 4th day, a different signal arrived from the same region of space. Not the complex organic patterns of Cathani communication, but something mechanical, systematic, and cold. The translation was simple. Consumption of designated systems complete. Searching for additional resource nodes. Energy signatures detected from coordinates set 847.3. Investigation proceeding. Marcus Webb found Sarah still at her workstation the next morning, staring at the message with hollow eyes. "They're coming here now, aren't they?" he asked quietly. Sarah nodded slowly. "The Devourers intercepted the Cathani transmissions to us. They know where we are. They know we have technology worth consuming." She turned to face her colleague, her expression grim. "And they know we chose to remain silent when someone needed help." 6 months after the last Cathani transmission, Earth's observatories detected movement in deep space. Long-range sensors picked up massive objects traveling at significant fractions of light speed, heading directly toward the solar system. The Devourers were coming, just as the mechanical signal had promised. President Collins stood before a joint session of Congress, his face grave as he addressed not only the assembled politicians, but a global audience watching via satellite. My fellow citizens of Earth, the time for debate has ended. We face an enemy that has already proven what happens to civilizations that cannot defend themselves. General Morrison had been promoted to Supreme Commander of Earth Defense Forces, a newly created position that united all of humanity's military resources under a single command. The irony wasn't lost on him. The cooperation that had eluded Earth during peacetime came instantly when faced with extinction. We estimate 18 months until the Devourer fleet reaches our outer solar system. General Morrison briefed the assembled world leaders at the new Global Defense Headquarters in Geneva. Based on Cathani data, we're looking at approximately 2,000 ships, each the size of a city. They've stripped resources from 17 star systems to fuel their expansion. Dr. Elizabeth Hayes stepped forward with her team of scientists, many of whom had been working around the clock since the first alien transmission. We've been analyzing every piece of Cathani technology data they transmitted. The good news is that their scientific specifications are incredibly detailed and accurate. We've successfully tested several prototypes. She activated a holographic display showing humanity's crash program for military advancement. We've developed functioning energy shields, plasma weapons, and most importantly, faster-than-light communication arrays. We can't build starships fast enough to mount an offensive, but we can defend our planet. The transformation of Earth was unprecedented. Every nation contributed resources to the defense effort. Factories that once produced consumer goods retooled to manufacture energy weapons. Space elevators were constructed at record speed to move materials into orbit. The International Space Station was expanded into a massive orbital defense platform. Scientists who had spent careers studying theoretical physics suddenly found unlimited funding and resources to make their wildest theories reality. The Cathani technology wasn't just advanced, it was elegant, efficient, and surprisingly adaptable to human engineering capabilities. Dr. Sarah Chen found herself leading the Alien Technology Integration Project, working with teams from 50 countries to reverse engineer Cathani designs. They didn't just send us weapons, she explained to her international team during one of their daily briefings. They sent us everything: medical technology, environmental systems, even entertainment devices. It's like they wanted us to inherit their entire civilization. Marcus Webb had taken charge of the Deep Space Monitoring Network, coordinating with observatories worldwide to track the approaching Devourer fleet. They're not trying to hide, he reported during one emergency session. If anything, they seem to want us to see them coming. Classic psychological warfare. Fear is a weapon. The fleet moved in perfect formation, consuming asteroids and space debris along their path to fuel their ships. Long-range spectroscopy revealed the horrifying efficiency of their technology. Nothing was wasted. Everything was converted into useful resources or energy. As the months passed, humanity achieved technological marvels that would have been impossible without the Cathani knowledge base. Orbital defense platforms bristled with energy weapons. Ground-based installations hid behind powerful shield generators. Every major population center was protected by multiple layers of defensive systems. But the scientists studying the Devourer advance patterns noticed something troubling. Dr. Chen brought her concerns to the Global Defense Council during a late-night emergency session. They're not just coming to consume Earth, she announced, her data streams filling the conference room's displays. Based on their trajectory and fleet composition, they're planning to stay. This isn't a raid, it's a colonization. General Morrison studied the tactical analysis with growing concern. What does that mean for our defensive strategy? It means they're not just going to attack and leave, Dr. Hayes interjected. They're planning to set up a permanent base in our solar system. Earth would become their launching point for attacking other nearby civilizations. The weight of realization settled over the room. This wasn't just about Earth's survival anymore. If humanity fell, the Devourers would use their solar system as a staging ground to continue their campaign across the galaxy. President Collins leaned back in his chair, the stress of the past months evident on his face. So, we're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for every other civilization that might be in their path. Including any Cathani survivors, Dr. Chen added quietly. We've detected faint signals from some of their outer colonies. Not everyone died when their core worlds fell. If we can defeat the Devourers here, we might be able to save what's left of their civilization. The irony was bitter. Humanity had remained silent when the Cathani pleaded for help, but now they were forced into the exact same position, standing alone against an overwhelming enemy. The difference was that no one was coming to save Earth. There were no other civilizations monitoring human radio transmissions, no advanced species considering whether to intervene. As the Devourer fleet crossed into the outer edges of the solar system, they began what human strategists called resource harvesting. Pluto disappeared first, consumed entirely within 72 hours. Then Neptune's moons vanished one by one, their material converted into additional ships and weapons. They're growing stronger as they get closer, Admiral Rodriguez reported from the Mars Orbital Command Center. Every asteroid they consume, every moon they strip, it all becomes part of their fleet. The psychological impact on Earth was immense. Riots broke out in some cities as people demanded evacuation to other star systems, forgetting that humanity had no faster-than-light travel capability. Other communities pulled together with unprecedented cooperation, working day and night to support the defense effort. Dr. Chen discovered something important while analyzing the consumption patterns. They're avoiding certain areas, she told her team, highlighting specific coordinates on their solar system map. Look at these gaps in their harvesting pattern. They're deliberately staying away from regions with high gravitational anomalies. Marcus Webb cross-referenced her data with stellar mechanics models. Gravitational instabilities interfere with their matter conversion technology, he realized. They need stable space-time to efficiently process raw materials. This discovery led to humanity's first successful tactical strike. Using modified nuclear weapons enhanced with Cathani energy amplifiers, human forces created artificial gravitational distortions around Jupiter. When a Devourer harvesting group approached the gas giant's moons, their ships became trapped in the gravitational chaos. Direct hit on their lead harvester, reported Captain Martinez from the Jupiter Defense Fleet. Confirmed destruction. The gravitational weapon is effective. It was humanity's first victory against the Devourers, but it came at a cost. The gravitational weapon destabilized Jupiter's orbit slightly, requiring constant course corrections to prevent long-term chaos in the solar system. General Morrison addressed the Global Defense Council with cautious optimism. We've proven they can be hurt. We've shown that human ingenuity combined with Cathani technology can level the playing field. But we need to be smart about this. Every victory has to count because we can't afford many defeats. The Devourer response was swift and decisive. Instead of continuing their methodical resource harvesting, they accelerated directly toward Earth, abandoning their careful approach for an all-out assault. Incoming transmission from the Devourer fleet, Marcus Webb announced from the monitoring station, his voice tight with tension. The message was brief and mechanical. Resistance detected. Local species demonstrates technological capability. Threat assessment upgraded. Total consumption protocol initiated. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the translation, understanding its implications immediately. They were taking their time because they thought we were helpless. Now that we've proven we can fight back, they're not going to play games anymore. Admiral Rodriguez coordinated with defense platforms across the solar system. All stations, prepare for full-scale assault. They're coming fast and they're coming angry. Everything we've built, everything we've learned, this is what it was for. The final battle for Earth was about to begin, and humanity would stand alone against an enemy that had destroyed countless civilizations across the galaxy. But they would not stand silent. The Devourer assault began at dawn over the Pacific Ocean. 200 massive ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel and immediately began bombardment of Earth's orbital defenses. Energy beams that could slice through mountains met humanity's Kethiani-enhanced shields in brilliant flashes of light visible from the planet's surface. General Morrison coordinated the defense from the underground command center beneath Geneva, watching as tactical displays showed the battle unfolding across multiple fronts. Orbital platforms 7 and 12 are taking heavy damage, reported Colonel Sanders. They're concentrating fire on our energy weapon arrays. Dr. Sarah Chen worked frantically at her console, analyzing Devourer attack patterns in real time. "They're using predictive algorithms," she called out over the noise of alarms and tactical chatter. "Every time we fire, they calculate our next targeting solution. But look at this. There's a lag time of approximately 2.3 seconds between their prediction and course correction." Admiral Rodriguez seized on the information immediately. "All platforms, implement random firing delays, minimum 2-second intervals, maximum 4 seconds. Don't let them predict our next shot." The modification worked. Human defensive fire became erratic and unpredictable, catching several Devourer ships off guard. 3 of the massive vessels exploded in brilliant fireballs, their debris raining down on Earth's upper atmosphere. But for every small victory, humanity paid a price. The Devourers adapted quickly, learning from each engagement. When gravitational weapons proved effective, they modified their ships with gravitational dampeners. When energy shields blocked their attacks, they increased power output until the shields overloaded. "Sir, we're detecting movement on the dark side of the moon," reported Lieutenant Kim from the Lunar Monitoring Station. "It looks like they're setting up some kind of construction operation." Marcus Webb enhanced the sensor data, his face paling as he interpreted the readings. "They're building a resource processing facility. They're planning to convert the moon into raw materials for more ships." The realization sent a chill through the command center. If the Devourers could establish a foothold in the Earth-Moon system and begin large-scale resource extraction, they could build an unlimited number of ships while simultaneously starving Earth of its natural satellite. "We have to stop them before that facility comes online," General Morrison declared. "How long do we have?" Dr. Chen ran calculations based on observed Devourer construction rates. "Based on what happened to Pluto, approximately 18 hours until the facility is operational. Once it starts, they'll be able to consume the moon within a week." The decision was made to launch humanity's most desperate gambit. Every available ship, military vessels, converted civilian spacecraft, even prototype fighters that had never been tested in combat, would assault the lunar construction site in one massive, coordinated strike. Captain Elena Rodriguez, Admiral Rodriguez's daughter, commanded the lead assault group from her modified destroyer, the Terra Defiant. "All ships, maintain tight formation until we're past their perimeter sensors. When we commit to the attack, give them everything you have. We won't get a second chance." The human fleet used Earth's gravity well to slingshot around the planet, building momentum for their approach to the moon. Devourer ships moved to intercept, but the element of surprise gave humanity a crucial advantage. "Enemy contacts approaching from lunar surface," reported the Terra Defiant's tactical officer. 12 ships, frigate class. They're trying to cut us off from the construction site." Captain Rodriguez made a split-second decision that would become legendary in human military history. Instead of engaging the interceptors, she ordered her entire fleet to dive directly toward the lunar surface, using the moon's gravity to accelerate their approach. "All ships, prepare for surface bombardment. Target the construction facility's power cores. If we can't destroy it completely, we'll at least set them back." The attack was devastating. Human energy weapons enhanced with Cathani technology and powered by desperation tore through the partially constructed facility. Massive explosions erupted across the lunar landscape as converted lunar material was scattered into space. But the victory came at enormous cost. Half the human assault fleet was destroyed by Devourer defensive fire. Captain Rodriguez's ship limped back to Earth with critical damage and 60% casualties. "The facility is destroyed," she reported to Global Command, her voice weak from injuries sustained during the battle. "But, sir, I saw something during the attack. The Devourers aren't just machines. I saw damaged ships attempting to rescue crew from disabled vessels. They're trying to save each other." Dr. Chen seized on this observation, cross-referencing it with months of accumulated data about Devourer behavior. "She's right," she announced to the emergency strategy session. "Look at their formation patterns, their tactical decisions. There's a preservation instinct buried in their programming. They do value their own survival." General Morrison leaned forward, sensing an opportunity. "What does that mean for us tactically?" "It means they can be forced into retreat," Dr. Hayes interjected, understanding immediately. "If we can threaten their core fleet with total destruction, their survival programming might override their consumption directive." The plan that emerged was audacious beyond anything humanity had attempted. Using every remaining ship, every orbital platform, every ground-based weapon system, Earth would launch a simultaneous assault on the main Devourer fleet. Not to destroy every ship, but to credibly threaten the complete annihilation of their forces. "We're essentially playing a game of chicken with genocidal robots," General Morrison explained to the Global Council. "Either we convince them that attacking Earth will cost them everything, or we all die trying." The battle was set for 0800 hours the following morning. Every human on Earth knew what was happening. Cities fell silent as families gathered around communication devices, waiting to learn if their species would survive the day. Dr. Chen made one final discovery in the hours before the assault. "I've found something in the original Cathani transmissions," she announced, her excitement barely contained despite the circumstances. "Hidden in their technical specifications. A message they embedded for us specifically." The message was brief but profound. "To the humans who receive this, we know you are afraid. We know you doubt your ability to stand against this enemy. But we have studied your species for many years through your transmissions. You have something we never possessed, the ability to unite in the face of extinction. You fight not just for survival, but for the right to choose your own destiny. This is why we believe you will succeed where we failed." When the final battle began, humanity unleashed everything they had learned, everything they had built, and everything they had become since first hearing the Cathani plea for help. Energy weapons fired in perfect coordination. Gravitational weapons created chaos in Devourer formations. Human pilots flew their ships in desperate ramming attacks when their weapons failed. The tide turned when Dr. Chen's prediction proved correct. Faced with the genuine possibility of total fleet destruction, the Devourer command algorithms began calculating odds of survival versus continuation of mission objectives. "Sir, they're pulling back," reported Marcus Webb from his monitoring station. "The entire fleet is withdrawing to the outer system." But humanity didn't stop. Ships that should have been celebrating victory continued their assault, pressing their advantage. Admiral Rodriguez's tactical doctrine had been clear. Give them no time to adapt, no chance to regroup. "All remaining ships pursue and engage," ordered General Morrison. "Drive them out of our solar system completely." The Devourer retreat became a rout. Ships that had consumed entire worlds fled before an enemy they had initially dismissed as primitive. Humanity had done more than survive. They had won. In the aftermath, as damaged ships limped back to Earth and casualty reports came in from across the solar system, Dr. Sarah Chen discovered something remarkable. The Kethani emergency beacons, silent for over a year, suddenly activated again. "This is Kethani colony ship Hope's Light," came the transmission from deep space. "We received reports of Devourer fleet destruction in Sol system. Is this human civilization?" "Did you defeat them?" Sarah's hands shook as she composed humanity's first message to the surviving Kethani. "This is Earth. We received your call for help. We're sorry we stayed silent before, but we're here now." The response came quickly. "We understand why you didn't answer before. Fear is not failure. It is wisdom. But courage in the face of fear? That is what separates the survivors from the consumed. Welcome to the galaxy, humanity. You are no longer alone." As Earth began rebuilding and reaching out to other civilizations across the galaxy, the Kethani message became humanity's new creed. They had learned that silence in the face of injustice was itself a choice. They had discovered that standing alone was sometimes the only way to learn you were never alone to begin with. The stars that had once seemed empty and hostile now beckoned with possibility. Humanity had not just found its voice, they had found their place among the civilizations that chose to fight rather than submit. They had become the answer to someone else's desperate plea for help, and they would never remain silent again.